everybody, this is No Excuses. My name's Rodney Arbona, and I'm with my very special guest, Selina Albright, who's got such a beautiful voice and influenced by so many amazing artists. How are you, Selina?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. This big smile on our faces, we just got to clue everybody in. And we're sipping water, folks. There's nothing else in that glass.
Oh, this is tea. Not a hot toddy. Regular
right.
old.
We've
turmeric.
had a great pre-conversation, and it's been all over the map. So we're just going to continue on where we left off, and that's what the beauty part about this show is. In No Excuses, we're going to get to learn all about Selina's lifestyle of No Excuses, how she's going to inspire us with her ways of life, and we're going to get into everything that she's got going on. So Selina, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up?
I grew up born and raised in Southern California. So we started off in LA, that's where I was born, and then moved to Burbank, and then a little town called Moore Park that became a city while we were still living there. It was that small.
They kind of built around you, huh?
Yeah. I mean, talk about wildlife being around us. We heard coyotes in the distance and stuff like that, and all that was separating us was a barrier wall. There was a little retainer wall, and that was all that separated us from wildlife. So
that's pretty
I've had
amazing.
city life and boondocks life, basically.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, in growing up, for the folks who don't know, and your dad's Gerald Albright, who's got a illustrious career in the jazz world, an amazing sax player, somebody I've admired my whole musical life since I'm 18, actually even earlier, playing music in high school. So we're going back to 16 years old. And I'm not trying to age him because he's still timeless. I saw him not too long ago, and I'm like, man, you don't change. What the heck's up? I says, people say I look young at 57. What the heck are we doing right?
Right. I think it's the love.
Yeah. The love that we give, right?
Yeah. Huge amounts of it. You know, he's one of those types of men.
Yeah, he is. He's got great energy. And so do you. And that's why I brought that up, because your energy is amazing. Your whole aura, seeing you on stage at the Berks Fest, the energy was just great. It was like, wow, you could stay up all night watching what was going on because you never felt tired. It was so much excitement.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. How did that all influence into you?
Oh, as far as my life being surrounded by music?
Yes.
It was huge. So at this point, I realized how different my childhood was. Growing up with all my dad's colleagues and just kind of sitting next to them on a couch, you know, between takes in a studio booth. Like, stuff like that just was normal for me because they were all my musical aunties and musical uncles. And their kids became my cousins and brothers and sisters and whatnot in music. So now I realize how weird that was compared to other childhoods. But for me, you know, that's just dad at work and his colleagues at work. But what it showed me was that it takes a lot of really hard work in order to make it big and maintain your status, you know, as a legendary artist. And so that, I think, was the biggest influence. And then, you know, of course, I absorbed some of the musical influences too, and learned a lot by listening to trumpets and transcribing the trumpet lines and melodies, and same thing with dad's horns. His earlier stuff, I have all of his horn solos memorized because he would play them over and over while he was mixing it, you know, and I would be sitting there during the mixing and mastering process. So I absorbed a lot. I was like a sponge. And so now making my own music is a product of all of those things and then people that I've listened to since then. So it's definitely formed who I am.
It's an amazing story, and very few people get that opportunity. To have a culture of diversification from so many people your dad's been involved with, and the fact that you got to absorb it, you could hear it in your music. You have so many different, you're kind of like a bunch of genres put into one. Does that make sense? I mean, it's smooth jazz, but you know, smooth jazz is a big title. There's some old school mixed in, there's some Latino music, there's some dance, there's some soul, there's some blues. It's not just really a single category, let's face it.
It's true. It's very true. My music is really diverse for that reason. I mean, I've listened to everything from country to alternative. I'll tell you, one of my favorite bands on earth is Incubus. And they're this alternative rock band. Right. But they do stuff like songs in 7/8 meter. And it was just different for me listening to that. And so I would listen to their stuff waiting for one of those weird meters to come up. And amazing. He's got some soul. I'm like, yes! I listen to EDM music, so electronic dance music. Right. All of that stuff has influenced me too. Listen to that all the way from junior high up to high school, and then ended up dabbling in it further into my career with some DJ duos that I've met in Denver. So yeah, it's definitely a mixture of things. You'll hear a lot in there. And I find it interesting that you totally picked up on that. Yeah, it's to one thing.
Well, again, going back into my musical experience and listening to your works, I've liked so many musics myself. I listen to everything pretty much, from country, and people say, you like country? You don't look like a country guy. You look like an urban dude. I said, yeah, but it's the soul that's coming out of them. It's the way they talk. It's the underlying, read between the lines situation. Right. And even with your music, you get so many different lines. It's like a storybook going in so many different directions, but you found a great way of keeping it structured, allowing us as the audience to run that path with you, to be a part of your journey.
You changed my life, yeah. Before I even knew you, what a blessing. And I made mistakes. I made so many mistakes. Before I saw the way. Forgave me, and I thank you. You forgave me so many times. My world started coming together when I found you. How do you love me in spite of all that I've done? Lord, how do you love me with none of my battles won? How can this person you see be your reflection? How can you know me and not show me rejection? You saved my life. You saved my life, oh yeah. Whenever I was troubled, what a blessing. And I saw you moving through and through every situation I couldn't handle. You taught me, yeah, and I thank you. You taught me so many things. My life has so much more meaning since I found you. How do you love me in spite of all that I've done? Lord, how do you love me?
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That means a lot coming from someone who listens to a lot of music too. So I'll take up.
So we got this, we've a little child, we've got the surroundings of amazing amount of influence in music right now, and now yourself, you're the influence. What are your challenges right now in your life? I mean, there's a lot of traveling going on, you're newly married. How does your husband and you cope with what your life is like and what his life is like as well? Let's face it, you're a team. You both have to go through these challenges together.
Yeah, commitment and communication. I think those are the two big C's for us, because when you're on the road, you never know how you're going to feel. If you feel sick while you're traveling, there's a different level of comfort that you need from your mate. So, case in point, Birch Jazz Festival, I was sick as a dog. I could hardly breathe, but I still had to get those notes out. So I told my husband, I'm like, babe, I'm going to need you tonight. I need your strength because I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have 2 shows tonight, and they just threw an extra song on me that I've never heard before, and I had to learn it
Right.
in an hour.
And Dad is saying, suck it up.
Yeah. And I did it, but I was like, babe,
Yes,
I need
you
you.
did.
And I used to do all this stuff on my own, and I was so imbalanced for years
Wow.
physically because doing way too much. And it's cool to be able to have a teammate to lean on. So depending on how I am feeling, if I feel good while I'm touring, Josh is like, okay, that's my husband's name.
Uh-huh.
Josh is like, okay, I can give her a little room to kind of do her thing, and then I'll call her in the evening after the show, or I'll call her before she goes on, and he pays
Right.
attention when I'm about to go on. So there are little things we do to make it special. We'll FaceTime before bed. That has to happen. And then before I even leave on tour, we have a sacred night where we'll do a date night right before I leave, because you never know what's going to happen when you travel. And that's our night. We can't reschedule it. It has to happen that night unless there's an emergency. And so, we do things to make it special. It still makes me miss him. But then when we get back together, absence does make the heart grow fonder. And so it ends up balancing itself out. And he knew that I was a traveler when we got married. And I was traveling all through the time that we dated. We dated for 4 years. Before we got married, off and on for 4 years. And so that helped us to build a strong friendship and get to know each other through all the seasons before we decided to, jump the broom, so to speak. By that time, he knew what my schedule was like. He knew that when I'm gone, I'm not truly gone. I still want to hear from him. We're still together, and
Right.
he still wants to hear from me. So we talk a lot without me having to strain my voice. And a lot of it is via text.
That's good.
But we work it out.
Well, we can't strain the voice. I mean, that is who we are, right?
It's the commodity. This
That's
is
right.
like the money right here. I don't know if I'd do if I couldn't sing.
What's that? The Lords of London policy.
It's the Lords of London policy. I've never heard that.
You can insure anything of your body parts. Some people who are like leg models, they'll insure their legs. People who are hand models insure
Yes.
their hands. So we'll insure your voice.
True. Yes, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
very appreciative of you sharing that, because I find it to be unfortunate, a missing component in too many partners' lives of communication. And every so often I'll have a private conversation with people and they want to talk about their partner in life and how things aren't working out. And one of the things I ask them is, why are you waiting for your partner to start the communication? Why aren't you starting the communication? And it's great that you're sharing what you and Josh, what your techniques are, because it's really, I think it's as much as your success as it is his.
Yeah, and we've worked on this, especially this last record. This was really us, and you'll see this in my thank yous on the record. Like, he's really been my teammate. When we had to figure out how things were going to get paid for, we both worked on that together. Because we're too proud to ask anybody else for money, like our parents or whatever. We never really ask them for money. Like, they have to give us gifts in order for us to accept it. 'Cause that's just how we are. We're old-fashioned. We're grown. We're married. We do our own thing. And so we're like, okay, so if we take this out of the budget, then we can do this, and we're figuring it out together. And I feel like that was what made this album that much more special, because over half the record is about our relationship and what I've learned and how we've grown together. And so for us to work on this together and make this
That's great.
it's our baby. And I really,
That's awesome.
it's really, really special.
And that's your new album that just came out, right?
Yes, Conversation.
I mean, what a perfect topic, and we didn't plan this, folks. For those of you who are listening, this is just flowing.
My husband actually named the CD because he realized that the underlying theme was that these are all conversations that I've either had with myself or with someone in my life over the past several years. And so it's a therapeutic expression of all the stuff that I went through emotionally, going through all those issues or victories.
And
So-
we're going to talk about one of your songs being Eat Something.
Yes.
And, that can go in a lot of different ways. So I'm going to keep this PG.
PG song to an extent until you get to verse
To an
2.
extent, I know. I'm listening to it and I'm like, woo!
Well, when we first got married, we ate a lot because that's how. So he's half Italian, And I just love to eat. You know, I'm Black and I'm Creole, so I'm just like, we eat. And my mother is from New Orleans, so we love to eat. So every time there's a celebration, we have food involved in the celebration. And there's nothing that makes me feel better. Well, no, I can't say nothing. But there's a few things that make me feel better than being full off of a really delicious meal. And that makes me happy. So call it emotional eating if you want to, but that's what we do. And so when Josh and I were so blissfully in love and we were enjoying finally being married after so many years of dating and just trying to figure out where we were, we ate. And my body changed, and his body changed too. But we love each other's bodies even more now than before. I think this is the best shape we've been in our whole lives. And you know, we're introducing new foods into our repertoire, and I'm teaching him how to make things. He's teaching me how to make lasagna the real way instead of boiling the noodles first.
That's awesome. I can't wait for the cookbook.
I made a little mini cookbook already, and not a lot of people know about it because I made it mostly for my fan family because they kept asking about my recipes at home. Okay. And the cookbook is called #EatSomething. Okay. And it's a collection of methods and recipes from my own kitchen that Josh and I would make together when we were first married. Now we've slowed down on some of that stuff because a lot of it is like naughty food, like starchy, sugary, buttery, creamy stuff that we kind of backed off on a little bit. Did you lose my feed?
I can still hear you. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Oh no, sorry. I promise I turned my phone off. So yeah, you know, we eat those in moderation now, but like if you really just want to eat something really delicious and pretty, a lot of those recipes are in that book. So, you know, you can still find it. It's on iTunes, iBooks.
Okay, we're going to take a short break and we're going to get back into that, folks. This is No Excuses, and I'm here with my special guest, Selina Albright. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening.
Grew 2 sizes in 2 years, smile is stretched from ear to ear. Had to get new lingerie, throw all them bridal gifts away. My dresses fit me extra tight, but the look on your face says you like it alright. Yes, your love makes me wanna eat something. Maybe you wonder why my booty's been so wide in such a short time. I ain't gonna apologize. Your love makes me wanna eat something. So come on, pass me them turkey necks, them collard greens, that cornbread and that rice and beans. 'Cause your love makes me wanna eat something. Ooh, I know you like it 'cause you smack it more than ever. There's nothing that is lacking, baby, never. Do you need a place to sit your glass? 'Cause these curves could be multifunctional, multi-structural. I didn't realize you like me this thick. The bigger I get, the more you wanna hold on to. Go on and do what you wanna do. You bought the cow, you get the udders and the filet too. When it boils down, what matters is I got a man who loves me the way I is. His love makes me wanna eat something. Oh, maybe you wonder why. Maybe you wonder why. I ain't gonna apologize. Your love makes me wanna eat something. Makes me wanna eat everything. Turkey necks, them collard greens, that cornbread and that rice and beans. Your love makes me wanna eat something. Eat something. I try to do more exercise that can't disguise what's sitting at the top of my thighs. I wanna eat something. Maybe you wonder why my booty's been so wide in such a short time. I ain't gonna apologize. Your love makes me wanna eat something. So come on, pass me them turkey necks, them collard greens, that cornbread and that rice and beans.
Hey everybody. This is No Excuses. My name's Rodney Arbona. I'm your host, and I'm with my very special guest, Selina Albright. And we're just chumming it up today, talking about a whole lot of things. We thought we were going to be structured, but that went out the window before we even went on. But where we left off, it was about your song, Eating Something, and how it created your cookbook and how people can find it on iTunes?
iTunes,
iBooks. Okay, great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just look up Selina Albright. It's the only book on there because it's the only thing I've ever released. So,
so we got it down to one, which is good.
First of many, hopefully.
That's awesome. Now, more with your music and what you got going on. I mean, you've been surrounded by, as you were saying earlier, so many amazing people. And, you know, some of your influence comes from people like Whitney Houston. I'm a big fan of Take 6. Acapella is really difficult to It's the hardest thing. And when you hear Take 6, you're like, wow, oh my goodness, how did they pull this off? Excuse me. Ella Fitzgerald, I love old school. Of course, Beyonce, Tina Turner. Who doesn't like Tina Turner? My goodness.
Yes.
You know, right? I mean, even today, she's still the spunkiest thing out there on two legs. Who's kidding who?
Young. I'm like, what did you drink? Because I think that fountain of youth right there. Because I'm not old, but I want to prepare now to look like her.
Well, you wrote that cookbook. You know, part of preparation I share with people is eating organic, keeping your pesticide level down, fluids like you're drinking today, healthy teas with great antioxidants, right? There you go.
Today on water and tea.
Exactly. And as long as you stay positive and keep stress out of your life and exercise, you know, it's really simple. On a couple of my prior shows, I actually do have a wellness segment, and I talk only for about 25, 30 minutes. It's like, folks, it's really that easy. Don't mess it up.
Water yourself.
Exactly.
Give yourself fertilizer. That's pretty much it. The good kind.
Taking all these influences, Selina, and you're putting together music like your new album, Conversations. As you're creating this music, are you saying to yourself, you know what, this type of song sounds something like Whitney would sing, and what part of her can I put into it with, of course, my own personality?
It just comes out that way. I don't think I consciously do anything. It might be subconscious at best.
There you go.
But I feel like sometimes I go into a song and the music will sound inspired by, say, Prince or Sierra or something like that.
Right.
And, you know, I'll leave it to the music to inspire me in whatever way. But yeah, I notice things about the music that might sound like a certain artist, but my voice tends to just be my voice.
That it is.
I hope. It will change a little bit depending on the song, but I think I allow the music to kind of inspire whatever is going to come out.
Label me dependent all you want, but I never begged you to stay with me. That was you. Now I'm here and you just wanna play around. I'll be going through the motions, trying not to fake it. Can I get a minute to enjoy us for a while before you throw a curve and lead us to a new direction? Can I get a second where I feel I'm all you want before you show me someone else has your attention? Please don't shake it up. I just started getting comfortable. We just started making good. Started feeling like we should. I finally think anything's possible. We finally know how it feels to love. I never thought we would. Oh no, 'cause I don't know what we can handle, and I don't need another battle. You've already
question for you as well is going back to your dad for a moment, because I know you had a great opportunity of being a big part of his album 24/7.
Yes.
I can't imagine what it's like even being like that, to growing up with a dad that's got, again, put you in an opportunity that, of course, you've made your own, so I got to give you credit for that. That's not an easy thing, having a dad who's ultra famous, and you coming out of your own shell and creating this beautiful music. So the listeners, I don't want to ever think that by no way did you ride your dad's back. You are an absolute talent. You could have called yourself Selena Gomez and still made it big.
It would have been confusing, but I could have.
It would have been.
Part of me was wondering if I should come out as Selena Marie, since Marie is my middle name, but then it was too close to Tina Marie, and I'm like, let me just be who I am.
Right.
And but in some ways it's easier, and in some ways it's tougher.
Yes.
And a lot of people focus on the easy part of it, like, oh yeah, of course she's got more access and she has a further reach. Of course her album's going to do well. But I feel like because of that same thing, people will underestimate me.
Right.
And I have to show 10 times as much effort and professionalism as, probably another artist out there who just naturally is hungry and doesn't have that extra chance. I have to prove myself more, I feel.
Right.
I don't think anybody actually said that, but I feel like I need to make sure that people know, no, I do write my own songs, and I do produce, and I do, and I've been working at this for 20 years, almost 20 years now, which is crazy to say, but I started pretty young. And my parents knew that I could sing on key when I was 2 years old. So I was definitely made for this and predestined to do this. And but the part about it that's really cool is that, I work in partnership with my dad so much that we really see each other's success as our own success. So it's not really a negative thing where we compete with each other,
No.
I do feel it's kind of cool that we're on the same charts now, to see my album and see his album too. I'm like, it's really exciting. Because that's never happened before.
Oh,
but
that's
he's
great.
good for me, and there's certain places where, he's even Selena's dad instead of, being his daughter, which is really cool. It depends on who knows who first. And that's been really cool to see. It's been really cool.
So what was it like being completely involved in the album 24/7?
It's always fun to work with Dad. I've been on his album since I was 16, on Live to Love.
Okay.
So, when we work in the studio together, it's always really quick because we know how each other works. So by the time we got to 24/7, he said, Selena, I need you to write some lyrics, write a hook for a song. And I think it's going to be called 24/7. That's the concept. And I'm like, 24/7? What is that?
Come on, Dad.
And, I just kind of sat on it for a minute. And literally that hook took less than 10 minutes to write because I visited Josh while we were still dating. And he said, okay, so you have to write this song. All right, well, while you go ahead and write the song, I'm going to go and get dressed. So he's in the shower. And I'm just like, oh, I get it. And I don't know what happened between the time that we talked to the time he went in the shower. But I was just like, 24/7, we're here to stay. This love was made to last always. Da 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 da. So, yeah, I was mushy at that point. I already knew when I wrote those lyrics. But it was really cool. So by the time I got in Dad's studio, which is in his house basement, really, really smoothly. It was quick. We only were in there. We're never in the studio for more than an hour unless we're doing editing and mixing and stuff. It's really quick because he's so easy to work with. He knows exactly what he wants when I get there, which is really easy. And he's quick behind the computer. He's good.
Being kind doesn't mean being blind to manipulation. Or is it just that you've been burned so much that you're desensitized? I feel sorry for. I feel sorry
laughing and acting silly in there, so it makes things go faster.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's such a great story. Your dad is definitely very cool, man. Meeting him at the Berks Fest, he was very easy to just meet, hang out with, have a chat, very humbled. And of course, seeing the two of you up in stage during practice time, it was just great. I mean, it was just marvelous. It really is. And again, you're just new. By no means I'm downplaying it or sympathizing. I want the audience to know that you 100%, you're your own person, and you're successful all on your own. You deserve it.
Thank you so much. I mean, I know it's easy, to connect my dad and I just because we're father and daughter and all of that, and I'm totally cool with that because he's an amazing person, an amazing artist. He's legendary. I'll say it all day.
Yes, he is.
Daddy. But it's cool for us to each have our own identities too and offer something to the music industry individually. And I think that that's been the coolest thing to learn about myself this year in particular and last year, was that when I perform, people are actually just seeing me on stage for the most part, and they're excited to see just me, and I don't have to be on stage with my dad anymore.
Right.
That's been such a triumph for me. I'm like, yes, I get it. I know what the work I've done, and the people close to me do, but it's cool to see audiences feel the same way. That's been huge. I'm like, thank God, this is great.
It is a hurdle. My own personal experience, my son's name is Rodney also. And in my prior career in technology, I was a hard wall office executive, and he was like at one point struggling with it. He goes, Dad, I don't know if I can be as successful as you. And I could see it in his eyes and in his body language that was a struggle for him. And I had to reassure him, look, I just love you for who you are. Don't worry about where your success is or how successful you might be or not be. You and I are not in a competition of each other. You're your own person. Wherever the Lord takes you in its path, and wherever you succeed in, even if you sell pencils on the street, if that's what you're happy with, I'm happy for you. I'm not here to decide what your happiness is. So eliminate that challenge out of your mind, because it's only going to suppress you. It's never going to let you excel.
I agree with you completely, and I went through that struggle as well. But then I just kind of stopped caring, and I realized that there are people out there who just want to hear what I have to say because they really like me. And I started focusing just on that and on caring for people through my music. And once I started focusing just on the music and expressing myself and what my story is, that all went out the window. And then it was easier for me to work with other artists and to work with my dad. And it's been a lot better lately.
That's great. We're going to take another break so we can play some of your music, Selina. We'll be right back, folks. This is No Excuses with my special guest, Selina Albright. Thanks for listening.
Face and your guard came down. No other woman could have worn her crown. Suddenly you felt a hesitation. Are you man enough to be her one? Oh, you look at her and you see your wife. Make you wanna redirect your life. Step back for a second, keep it simple. Take a breath, find your window. You don't have to know if she'll walk down the aisle. Just go and entertain her for a while.
Hey folks, we're back again. This is Rodney Arbona hosting No Excuses. And I'm with my special guest, Selina Albright. And I'm sorry, I can't keep a straight face. We're having so much darn fun.
I'm acting goofy over here. It's just...
Yeah, we're both. We're both.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be, straight-laced and keep the show running smoothly and pronounce my words right. It's getting difficult by the moment.
I'm country and you're from the East Coast. I mean, we're just going to have our accents. We're going to, it's going to be what it is. This is the fun of it. I'm glad you're relaxed.
Yeah, I'm very relaxed, and thank you. And I'm appreciating you as well, because we had a great preliminary conversation that I could feel just continued on with this taping here. But with all that being said, back to your music and people you've been around beside your dad, people you've played with, Joe Sample, Brian Simpson. I mean, the list goes on. I could talk forever. Keiko Matsui, of course, meeting you at the Berks Fest with Rick Braun and Everett Harp and others that were up there. What is it like playing with all these people? Oh my God, the energy's got to be off the hook. Do you guys even take a break?
It's fun. It's an adrenaline rush every time, but then it feels like my heart is so huge and so full. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunities. I mean, I can't say there's really been, there aren't many bad moments when you're up on stage with someone who does something so great and is so talented, and then they say, hey, sing this, and they're playing something on the guitar and they want you to scat to it. I'm just like, what?
Oh my gosh. I love it.
It's really, really fun because I'm used to being on stage with Dad, and I'm used to being on stage with some of his colleagues, but now that I've kind of branched out and some of the colleagues are my peers and they're my same age, like when I perform with people like Marcus Anderson and Jakeem Joyner, people who are kind of my same age group.
Right.
It's so cool. Like, it's fun in a different way. So when I'm on stage with my dad and his colleagues, I feel like I'm baby girl. And then, and they treat me protected, and they're like, oh, and they're really excited that I'm on stage with them too, because they've been waiting since I was little for me to kind of come out and be an artist, because they kind of knew somehow that it was there.
Right.
Way before I did. And it's huge and it's fun. And I can't thank God enough for it. I can't describe it.
That's good. Well, describe this for us then. One of your other songs is If I Were a Boy.
Yes. That is a Beyonce song. And it was written by two songwriters who escape me right now. I apologize.
That's okay. We're talking about Selina Albright.
But I would sing that song on stage and people were like, you have to record it, you have to record it, you have to record it. And so I said, well, I don't want to do it the way, I never even perform it the way that Beyonce does.
Right.
But I wanted to do something different from even my performances too. So I went with an unplugged version. I have Peter White on guitar, and he's the one who really wanted me to record it. Like, if you record it, I'll play on it. I'm like, what?
What? Yeah, no kidding.
I'm like, okay, cool. And so I couldn't list him, as a feature, but he definitely gets full credit for that idea. And he actually was the one who came up with the chords for it as well, on the spot. That's a cool story. We were on the Dave Koz cruise in 2013. I'm going to make this quick.
No,
we're doing a jam session, because I know we have other stuff to talk about. We're doing this jam session, and I want to sing If I Were a Boy and nothing else. I don't know why. I was just stubborn that night. So I go up to Uncle Peter. I call him Uncle Peter. I go up to Uncle Peter, and I'm like, Uncle Peter, do you know If I Were a Boy? He's like, no, I don't know the song. How does it go? And I sing him the bass notes. And the chords are totally different from the original, but the bass notes are the same. And he came up with it, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds kind of folkish. But then we were able to make it sound jazzy, folkish, and kind of orchestrated at the same time. And we got on that stage, and they put on blue lights. I remember there being these side.
Wow.
So I looked like Avatar. So if you see the pictures and the video of it on YouTube, that's me with the braids looking like Avatar. And we were right there. And then my dad came on stage. We had Tracy Carter on piano. Like,
wow.
It was the most beautiful moment. And it was a tribute to someone who had just passed away. And everybody was really quiet until the very end. Then they were like, "Woo!" So Pete White and I performed it again because it was so magical that night. We did it again in Germany, in Augsburg, Germany, for the festival.
Okay.
Standing ovation. Everybody went wild. So I'm like, okay, we have to record this now. So, you know, he came through for me, and I cannot thank Peter White enough for that. He's amazing.
Yeah, he is.
Also,
Peter is an
Ellis?
expert at title tracks as well. He knows how to change them but keep them the same. He is amazing.
He's amazing, and I love his live show too. I finally saw it for the first time about a year or two ago, and the way he tells stories and the way he plays and tells a story through his guitar is just amazing.
It is.
Yeah, so you know, everything came together really well on that song, and I'm really proud of that one because it doesn't sound anything like, it sounds like it was my song, and I went that way on purpose. I was like, no, we need to do it completely differently. And on production, I had James J. Rob Roberson, and he orchestrated the whole thing after Peter White. All Peter White sent us was a guitar track, and we built from there.
Wow.
And that was the beauty of it. And then we had Randy Ellis on saxophone, and he did all the horn parts, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so velvety.
Yes.
Love how the music came out on that one. So when it came time to sing over it, I was almost crying in the studio booth. It was deep. I was in the music. It was just awesome.
And I was going to ask you that because it feels like you're in the music. I can feel you're trying to give us a message on that.
Well, I was feeling, I was feeling the pain from when I had been cheated on, and that's what that song is about. Okay. You know, if I would treat a woman better than you're treating me. And this song is not about my husband, by the way.
I didn't think so.
A long time ago, and I just kind of brought it back. It was very emotional because, you know, when you're singing, it's almost as if you're an actress, and you have to become the role.
Yes.
Man, if I didn't get sucked back into that moment, and I had to take a minute after that to just kind of, you know?
I can feel it. I can feel there was a little sadness in there, and that you were singing from the core. It wasn't just words. There was a core method and a core message, I should be saying, excuse me, in that song that you wanted to share with us.
If I were a boy, even just for one day, I'd roll out of bed in the morning and throw on what I wanted and go home. Drink beer with the guys and chase after girls. I'd kick it with who I wanted, and I never get confronted for it, 'cause they'd stick up for me. If I were a boy, I think I could understand, oh yeah, how it feels to love a girl. I swear I'd be a better man. Oh, I'd listen to her, 'cause I know how it hurts when you lose the one you wanted, 'cause he's taking you for granted, and everything you had got destroyed. If I were a boy, I would turn off my phone, tell everyone it's broken, so they think that I was sleeping alone. Oh, I'd put myself first, yeah, and make the rules as I go. 'Cause I know that she'd be faithful, waiting for me to come home, to come home. If I were a boy, yeah, I'd but you're just a boy. You don't understand. I don't expect you to understand how it feels to love a girl someday. Wish you were a better man. You don't listen to her, no. You don't give a damn how it hurts. No, no, no. Until you lose the one you wanted, 'cause you've taken her for granted. And everything you had got destroyed. But you're just a boy. Oh,
So that's
Yeah.
why I asked.
So much so, yeah. And the whole record really is that kind of, me delving into a certain portion of my life that I wanted to commemorate or just therapeutically release. And so yeah, the whole record is called Conversations for a reason. It really is me just pouring out my heart over the past several years, I would say.
Wow.
And just making it as beautiful as it could be, even if it was a hot mess of a situation I went through.
Selina, we all have gone through it. So again, hearing it from you and sharing these thoughts is very inspiring to allow the audience to know who you are as a person, which is beautiful. And the fact that you're sharing this just allows everybody to understand that we're all normal. The fact that you're on stage doesn't make it any different than somebody who's not on stage. And you're allowing us to understand that this is okay, that you can get through it. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share it. You don't get to do an interview like this one very often. People just stick to the music. They stick to the typical questions. What's it like? What's it like? And how is this? And, what does this song mean? And the lyric sheet is right there.
Well, you should have known from the beginning this wasn't going to be normal.
Well, I knew once I picked up the phone, I was like, this is going to be totally different. This is going to be fun. And I was glad to stay. I mean, I'm in a little while, I'm about to go, relax and get my hair done. And I feel like I've had an afternoon. It's time for lunch, time to eat something already. But I feel like I've had lunch with you and we're just sitting over tea and having this conversation. I didn't mean to do that. That's what it feels like for me.
Thank you. And that means a lot to me because, again, I want the audience to experience what it is to have a no excuses lifestyle. And it's really because people like yourself who are willing to be transparent. And it's completely lovely. So thank you for saying that, though. It means so much. I appreciate it.
I think no problem. I mean, honesty, I feel, is the best policy as long as it's, the right timing, usually. And it's fun for me to be able to just speak out and be okay with myself, because that took years. And just to be able to express what I went through. And this album is a reflection of that. And this whole interview, me just being so comfortable saying stuff, is a reflection of that too. So I'm glad that we did this interview now. I don't think it would have been as interesting even 10 years ago. I probably would have kept a lot of things.
You would have suppressed. Yeah, that's great. I understand that.
But yeah, fun.
Thank you. We're going to take another quick break so we can play some of that music that we've been talking about, folks. This is No Excuses with my very special guest, Selina Albright. Thanks for listening.
Surprised the day I said I never had to be alone again, 'cause you're my highest high, you're my never low, you're my silver sky, I am never letting go. You're my whitest smile, you're my golden glow, opens up my eyes, I am never letting go. As the story unveils, we are much more than a fairy tale. Consistently prove to be a man of deep integrity, not afraid to challenge me and take me where I wanna be. I hit it big with this one, ladies. This ain't nothing like all the others. Met the match, and all that catch just me with no strings attached, mentally and physically. I know he's always covering me. You're my highest high, you're my never low, you're my silver sky, I am never letting go. You're my whitest smile, you're my golden glow, opens up my eyes, I am never letting go. Tell me that you ain't going nowhere, say that I'm all you need. Oh yeah. Tell me that I do it for you, baby. Say you'll never let me go. Tell me that the world's better with me. Say you're in love with me. Tell me that no other will do, baby. Say you'll never let me go. You're my highest high, you're my never low, you're my silver sky, I am never letting go. You're my whitest smile, you're my golden glow, opened up my eyes, I am never letting go. You're mine, you're mine, hey, hey. You're my whitest smile, you're my golden glow, opens up my eyes, I am never letting go.
Hey folks, we're back. This is No Excuses. My name's Rodney Arvona. Selina Albright and I are just having too much darn fun. You can never have too much fun. We're just laughing it up, having a grand old time. I don't feel like we're miles away. I just feel like, you're right next to me. We're hanging out. And like you said before we took the break, we're having lunch together. And I can't imagine if we had cocktails together.
Oh my goodness. Well, see, I
will
can't
happen.
either, 'cause I don't really drink.
That's
But
great.
yeah, if I even have one glass of wine at this point in my life, now that I'm not a drinker, you'd probably get even more stuff out of me. So I
We'll
think
keep
it's
it
good.
to one. I promise, Josh. I promise.
Oh man.
So let's get back into your album Conversations, because it means a lot, and the songs mean a lot. And you have another song, Talk to Her, of it. Yes.
Yes. So that song is dedicated to my spiritual brothers, who are younger than me, and they always come to me for advice about girls, or always used to. Now, one of them is married now. A few of them are married now.
You did a good job.
Yeah, but these topics, they're kind of irrelevant now, but to think back on them, it's hilarious. The guys get a little bit on, thirsty McDry-mouth status, and they want to jump in head first into a relationship right away instead of getting to know the girl and just having fun with it for a while. And so that's what that song came from, is years of counseling younger guys on not being thirsty McDry-mouth. So
We need it.
you can smell thirst from a mile away, and I've even dealt with that, and it doesn't end well, and it ends really quickly.
Yes,
So-
I always say every man needs a bigger sister, and the ones like myself who haven't had one, where were you when I needed you?
I know. We all do need that, and I needed big brothers too.
Yes.
A lot of that Yeah, my Big Brother stuff didn't come out on this record. That might be the next record.
There you go.
Things I learned from Big Brother. Yeah, that might be kind of cool. But yeah.
So one of the other songs on there is called Victim.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling that's something you were saying. Is he going to ask me that question? But you know what? I feel very comfortable with you, and I know you feel comfortable with me. And I really appreciate it. So hence why I brought that up, because again, being transparent and sharing a message that's going to help others, it's all about what this show's about. So I'm asking, dear.
So I don't get angry on record usually. But this is one situation where I was like, you know what? I'm being open and honest on this record. I can get angry too. I can release this song. And this is one particular song that's been marinating since 2007-ish, I believe.
Wow.
The year before I even thought about marriage and all that stuff. Like, I was just in a really tough place of being betrayed a lot from different directions and not knowing how to deal with that, and just trying to stay on top of my own life and stay balanced and stay woke, as they call it.
Right.
But keep my eyes open. And I had a lot of sleepless nights and just dealing with a lot of emotions around that time, because I didn't know what was the truth and what wasn't. All I knew was that I had to keep the show going, because I still had my career. I had to keep the show going regardless of what people did around me. And doing that for the first time, or just early on in your journey of doing that, it's just really hard.
Sure
And
is.
so the song started as a relationship song. And I was telling a guy that, you think you're one up on me, and you think that you're going to play me, and you're only really good for one thing, but I'm the one who's not giving up nothing, but that to you. It was really bad. So I said, you know what? My level of betrayal since then has expanded so much to people who are friends, people who I considered family, and relationships, and, fans even, who, I thought were cool and just did some crazy stuff. So I had to expand the concept of the song to fit everybody who had ever betrayed me and hurt my feelings and just broke my heart. And so that's where that came from. And I had this huge influx of betrayal happen in the year 2012. And that was a year that a lot of crazy stuff happened. So I think that because it all happened at once, I was able to deal with it better, because I figured out how I need to respond. Because you can't control what other people are going to do, but you can control the response. And so this song came from me just kind of releasing all that, and having learned from all those experiences. Because, the same situation will keep coming around until you learn from it and grow a thicker skin to it. And so now I get betrayed, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, well, this is what's going to happen. You're not going to get me as a friend anymore, or I'm just not going to be able to, there will be no more perks left for you. And that's what this Victim song came out of. Me just telling everybody else, you know what, you're still the same. You haven't changed, and you don't get to do this to me again.
You should have known that it was obvious to me. Your motive began before you fixed your mouth to speak. I've been here before, and you're not that smart. Someone who plays the victim doesn't make it very far. Yeah. I should have told you I was already aware that you've been exposed, but darling, I just didn't care. No. Should have been clear, your retribution had begun. You think that you're clever, but you're not the only one. I've been here before, and you're not that smart. Someone who plays the victim doesn't make it very far. 'Cause I know more than you think I know. You think you're one up on me, but I set the stage. I make the rules.
Good for you.
I'm taking charge.
Good for you.
And I get angry. And I said some things in that song that probably, I mean, I'm saved, but I probably, didn't reflect saved kind of heart on that. But getting it out now, it felt kind of good.
Good.
I didn't mention names. I protected the not so innocent. And
Right.
it made for, I think, a great song.
Yeah, it did. And again, you've supplied the audience with a message, once again, is not allowing to recognize who's not truly your friend, who's really just, as I like to separate people, and maybe this sounds kind of simple again, but I like to say they're either givers or takers.
Yeah.
And the only people I allow in my life now are the giver. The minute I spot you're just gonna take from me, you're out. That's it. You don't get too many seconds. At this
That
point,
is one surefire sign. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And-
Because that's the start of a lot of mess. Like, from
Right.
that point is the motive for being in the relationship in the first place. So, yeah.
And part of being a victim too is we tend to allow that to come into our life, not realizing we're being victimized,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then we have to flip that switch to say, wait a second, I got to eliminate this. And sometimes we think too much about eliminating. We're worried if we get rid of somebody, how is it going to affect us? I just tend to say, the minute I know you got the wrong energy, you're gone.
Right. You have to kind of grow a thick skin to that because, what really are you gaining from that relationship if the motive is wrong and their heart is wrong and
Right.
you're just waiting for the next shoe to drop where they're going to hurt you. So
Right.
if they're not a safe person to be around where you can really relax and be yourself, there's no point.
There is no point. And I try to tend to be an example for others that they can have a great life with quality, not quantity.
Yes. You don't need 5,000 Facebook friends to have a life.
Right.
I mean, it's really those few people who will check in on you when they know you're sick or who will, just check in and say, hey, I know you're touring right now. Did you land safely?
Right.
People like that who do the little things, I think, are the most valuable, and the people who are consistent. And I think that everybody who has a negative motive of some sort, they always tend to show themselves. And when they do, it's good to believe them.
That's right. And once they show themselves, as you said before, that's right, cut them loose because they're not going to change their spots.
It's so easy for me to snip people now. I went through a phase of over snipping where I was just like, oh, okay, that's a good flag. I'm done with you. And I missed out on a lot of things, but I'll give people a couple chances. After that, that's it. And I think it's made my life a lot simpler.
But it
As a result.
also gave you the smarts, and it also is, once again, is you're providing that example for others to realize how they can learn from Selina, to say, you know what, if she can do it, I can do it, because she understands now how to do it, and she's now shared it with me, which is fantastic.
It's not easy, but
But it's rewarding.
you have to. Yeah, you got to clean up. But yeah, I hope that people learn from that song.
I get it, I've seen the look before. You've been underestimated, maybe you're intimidated. Don't sweat it, you're still my hero. I know that you're frustrated, this ain't where you thought you would be. But you're here for a reason. Everything happens to us when it's in its season, And don't you question how I feel. You're still my baby, my love, and